Hi there, Tankster here. Today, I like to go ahead and do something a little different. I don't want to play any ranked games. I don't want to play any normal games. I don't even feel like going to AIM. Just go ahead and try BS with views. I don't feel like doing all that. Instead, I like to go ahead and do some homework. I would like to go ahead and study items. But before we go ahead and get far to this, I want to go ahead and make it a quick TLDR. AD champions are better than AP champions. Let me go ahead and say this one more time. TLDR, AD champions are better than AP champions. I could go ahead and make a claim like that, just end the video, just watch people be like, you don't even play League of Legends. You're wrong about this. But I do want to go ahead and try to prove it. But I do want to go ahead and try to ask a serious question. Something that some of y'all should be asking yourselves. Why is everyone okay with stacking AD and not anything else? I want you to think about that for a second. So some of y'all could go ahead and doubt me. I will go ahead and challenge you. If you play a ton of PvP games, whether it be ARAM, rank, or just normals, go into your match history and see how many times teams stack up full AD and full AP. And just from your team, it could be from the other team too. Take a look at your match history and see how many times AD is stacked compared to AP. Go ahead. I'd like to hear an answer from you regarding that. I kind of do see it when it comes to Champ Select and all the rest of that, and how teams are formed. Most people will go ahead and pick marksmen, assassins, and bruisers. Maybe just probably a bit more than bruisers, but the fact of the matter is a ton of AD. But the fact of the matter is, within that set that I just named, that's a ton of AD right there. It's like as though everyone prefers AD just to go ahead and get the job done. I like to know why. There are some AD champions that benefit from building hybrid. The first one I can think of is Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa, Twitch, and Varus. They can go ahead and get away with any AD build or AP build or a mixture of the two. They can go ahead and get away with that, be able to score freaking Pantas, and call it a day. I don't get that. But then you have other champs which I have no clue why people do what they do. I'm pretty sure y'all don't know, but I do love to go ahead and build efficiently just like you do. When I go ahead and look at some of these builds and then some of these champions with those builds, it just does not make sense. I'll go ahead and use a clear example. Irelia. There's a ton of AD. Everyone uses an AD build because it works, so we don't even question it. Only a crazy person will go ahead and question her builds. Guess what? I'm one of those crazy people. I look at the builds and then I look at the stats of and then I look at her skill and stats, and it just does not seem to add up. The AD builds only work. The AD builds only is only beneficial for her passive and her first ability. That's it. Everything else scales directly with AP. Like, Irelia has some of the highest scaling stats when it comes to AP. No, possibly the highest scaling stats when it comes to AP. The only exception being Singed Ultimate, which scales extremely high with AP along with HP. and yet no one's building it. And when I went ahead and tested her, despite her being hard, I find very little success with AP. AD also works, but let's just be honest, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But then I went ahead and built full tank one day. I went ahead with a tank Aurelia and actually had an easier time. I actually did the most damage. Death Dance, Guardians, Angels, Thornmails. Not Frozen Heart. The Mallet. I had a crazy build. I had crazy success with her. But the point is that AD is hardly being used. Why? There are some other builds that doesn't. There are some other builds that don't really make sense that people go ahead and do anyway. Trishana, one of the best scaling crit marksman champions. All her stuff scales with AD. No, I'm sorry. All her skills scales with AP. Why? And if you think it's just DPS, nah, ain't just DPS. It's tanks too. Blitzcrank. You got skills scaling with AP. And then you have a Sun skill that's scaling with crit, and his passive scaling with mana. And yet we build tank just because he is a tank. Why? None of his abilities scales with any defensive abilities whatsoever. Rakan, same thing. His skills, all of his skills, including his passive, scales with AD. Why are we putting tank items over Khan just to go ahead and make him feel good? All you're gonna do is just butcher the scaling stats. If you decide to go ahead and build full tank with Khan, yeah, you could go ahead and survive on the field longer, but your skills are going to be useless. You could go ahead and dash in and out. All you're going to be known for is just hitting your ultimate and your second ability. That's it. All the other skills are going to be useless. So why are we asking people to go ahead and build tank over Khan? Alistar, strictly AP as well. Yeah, everyone builds tank. Yeah, everyone is building him tank despite him having no tanks, no scaling stats on tanks, or no defensive scaling stats on this guy. Why? Shen. 4 AP, except for the third ability that has an HP scaling. Yeah, we choosing to build tank on him. Why? Nihilus, one of the best champions to go when it comes to crowd control. Scales directly with AP, and yet we go ahead and build tank on him. Why? Certain things I just do not understand whatsoever. Why? Kale can probably become a monster as an AD, but I get it. Most of the skills scale with AP, and yeah, people saying that, hey, you're a troll if you go ahead and put AD on Kale. Why? Like, that's the stuff I don't get, and that's the stuff I'm willing to go ahead and try to answer. I don't think it relies, and I don't think the answer of why everyone is stacking AD relies on the champion's abilities at all. I think it relies solely on the items. The items are carrying the champions. I mean, that's a strong claim, but let's go ahead and study to just go ahead and try to get my point proven across. There's a reason why people are stacking AD champions. There's a reason. I just like to go ahead and get to the bottom of it with my own conclusions, with my own studies. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight up into it. Now this is something that I have never done before, so what I'm going to go ahead and try to do is explain what the item does and who uses it, or who possibly uses it. With that said, let's go ahead and start with AD, since I made that claim that AD is better than anything else. Yes, I will go ahead and include tank, because it just feels wrong to just go ahead and explain AD and AP without including tank. But in my opinion, I believe tank items are also better than AP items. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and hop straight into this. I ain't gonna waste any more time. Nash's Tooth. You basically gain additional magic damage based off of how much whatever type of items you stack on it. This used to be strictly an AP item, but it got changed into a hybrid item so that anyone could use it. Right now, at base it offers, depending on what build you're going for, it offers either 30 attack damage or 60 ability power. Now I want you to keep that in mind, because there's a reason why Nash's Tooth is the way it is. Matter of fact, there's a reason why AD offers little, why AP offers much. I'll go into great detail with that later. Basically, Kaiser can use this for a hybrid build. Basically, people like Kaiser could go ahead and use this for a hybrid build. Kale often uses this to go ahead and get herself powerful. I think this is one of her primary items to go to. We're gonna go with Guardian's Angel, useful for AD champion. Marksmen could use this, but tanks could also use this. That scales with that AD. Basically, you prevent yourself from dying. Anyone knows what Guardian's Angel is. Bloodthirster, mainly used on marksmen. Now I want to go ahead and freeze there. When I say marksmen, I want you guys to include Yasuo and Yone, because although they're melee champions, they both scale with critical. They both scale with crit. So when I say marksmen, include Yasuo and Yone. Okay. Bloodthirster. You gain additional AD, and then you get a shield off of attacking if your health is already full. That's all I have to really say about that. Ruined Hurricane. You usually strictly for marksmen and other range champions. Basically, with this item, you gain some more stats, and you get some more physical stats, and you are sending out 2 additional attacks on your basics. This used to be a marksman item that offers crit and attack speed, but I'm not sure why they went ahead and changed it to hybrid. But unlike Nash's Tooth, which anyone can use, Ruined Hurricane is usually used only by basic attack champions like Twisted Fate, Caitlyn, and some other marksmen. But yeah, it's hybrid. Don't know why, but that's how they went ahead and decided to go ahead and do it. Again, more AP offering than AD. I'll explain that later. Dustblade. You are basically dealing additional damage when coming out of invisible with your basic attacks, and doing this successfully will go ahead and slow the enemy down for 1 second for majority of their movement speed. Pyke can go ahead and use this. Let's see here. Pyke could go ahead and use this. Ascon could go ahead and use this. Hopefully I pronounced this name right. Jeez, my head is going empty. Who else can go invis? Well, Akali could go ahead and use this, but you basically building off meta, and if you happen to lose like that, you're going in the gutter. You're just getting reported for not simply building AP on Akali. But yeah, she could go ahead and use this. Golly, I can't think. Pyke, Escon, Rengar. Okay, you get it. You guys know. You guys know who goes invisible and who could actually use this. That benefits off of AD. Obviously, it's not Teemo. I don't think none of his skills scales with AD to begin with. Mortal Reminder. This used to not be a item for marksmans, but I guess they wanted something to. I guess they wanted to go ahead and give something strictly for marksmans and something strictly for bruisers. Anyways, it is a healing reduction item strictly for marksmen. It used to be for any AD champion. Manamune, you go ahead and use your ability to go ahead and build up mana. You upgrade it and you go ahead and deal additional damage with your abilities based off the amount of mana you have. And that scales with and although this scales with mana, I don't really know. There's really no other 80 mana items other than this one. And I don't really see any creative way to go ahead and use it without breaking builds and whatnot. I know Israel uses this along with Frozen Mallet, I want to say, to go ahead and slow more people down in the area while going ahead and gain the benefit of this item. But I don't know how people can go ahead and get used to this while trying to go ahead and stack a ton of mana on top of this. Like, you have to be really creative. I would think that this will be used in a hybrid build, but so far I have not seen that at all. So I don't know what to exactly make of this item. I did try this on Gen once, where I went ahead and used this item to go ahead and boost the attack power while boosting the ability of all his other attacks, but eventually I stopped finding success with it because everyone just got better, and I just got rust. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. Black Cleaver, you're basically reducing armor and this thing stacks. Folks like Darius uses this. I think Garen uses it too, but it's mainly Darius since it works perfectly with his kit. Training Force, you are gaining movement speed. You are gaining movement speed if you get a kill, and you deal more damage after using an ability. There are certain items that's like Training Force, but for the most part, I could have sworn it had a bit of I could have sworn Training Force back then had a bit of lifesteal, but I'm not going to worry about that. Moss, basically a counter to AP champions. You are basically doing damage, and part of that damage is being converted into a shield. It used to be a lifeline item, but yeah, for AD champions, that's the counter to AP champions. But there's a better item that people use. Not many people uses this. Magnetic Blaster, basically an energizer attacks. You move around, and then once it's charged up all the way, you do additional magic damage. I will go ahead and also explain about this item and other items that offers magic damage. Death Dance, you basically gaining armor, and if you happen to go ahead and make a kill, you go ahead and heal off of that kill. Bruisers can go ahead and use this, but also tanks and marksmans. I'm not sure. Assassins can use it too, but they're mainly building for penetration. Phantom Dancer, you basically gain movement speed and attack speed at the same time for simply fighting. I forgot to change the stats made to this item, but basically any marksmans plus Yasuo can go ahead and use this. Wits and you're dealing additional magic damage with this item, and if you happen to go ahead and drop low and get it turns into a lifesteal item. And this is an item mainly for melees. Like Warwick will sometimes go ahead and use this but Warwick will sometimes use this and some other champions, but yeah, another item. But yeah, best item that people go for if they want to go ahead and counter AP champions. Attack speed is king. That's just how things are. Attack speed is king. You could go ahead and stack the additional. You could go ahead and stack the additional AD, and you'll be strictly fine. Simply because you're dealing the attack speed. Go ahead and make up for the lost damage that you are giving up for building this item. Essence Weaver, I don't exactly know much about this item. I know Lucian usually uses this, but yeah, you're basically gaining mana back you're basically getting mana back by attacking. Marksmen can use this, but I think this is based off of marksmen that has magic based damage. Lucian is one of them, Ezreal is one of them, Twitch is one of them. I think Twitch. I'm not exactly too sure, so don't quote me on that. Stormrazor, another energizer crit based item. Grudge, the AP item of Rylai's. Your damaging abilities and your power attacks gets to slow people. Slowly Charged Blade, again, deals bonus magic damage after using an ability 3 times. Not much to say about this. I think Yone also benefits greatly from this. I'm not sure what marksman uses this at all. Navori Quick Blades, basically you deal crit damage. Your abilities, you get their cooldowns reduced. Everything except ultimates. Again, I think this is for Yone and Yasuo, although any marksman could go ahead and benefit from this. Edge of Night, basically your special items for AD champions. There is an AP version, although I forgot what it's called. I think it's Crown. I'm pretty certain it's Crown. Like I said, my head is a bit all over the place. Divine Sunder, you deal additional damage based off of how much AP your opponent has. This is a great item to go ahead and counter tanks as a bruiser. It kind of looks like Trinity Force, but you are dealing a ton of damage against people that has high HP. I guess 80 champion can go ahead and use this, but for the most part, bruisers mainly uses this. Surface Fang deals additional damage and reduces the usefulness of shields. This is an assassin item, although I think Bruisers also uses this as well. Immortal Shield Bow, probably one of the best items to go ahead and ever exist. It is a lifeline item, but it offers attack speed, attack damage, critical damage, and a bit of, it offers attack damage, critical, attack speed, and a bit of life steal. And if you happen to go into lifeline, you get an additional life steal. I would like to say that this is the best item to go ahead and rush if you are into learning marksmans and possibly Yasuo and Yone, but I'm pretty sure those that have mastered those characters have a different view to say about it. After all, I'm not an AD main. I'm a support main. The collector, the only item that offers both critical and armor penetration. If you happen to hit someone while they're 5% HP or less, it is an immediate execute. No questions asked. Misfortune loves this item. I'm not sure who else does though. Chimpunk's Chainsword, that recently came out like maybe a season or two ago, but basically it is another it is a healing reduction. It's another healing reduction item, but for bruisers. Anyone used to go to Mortal Reminders for this, since this is flat out 80 damage and it being able to go ahead and reduce healing, but they split it to go ahead and make the builds easier for marksmen and bruisers. Spear of Sojourn, I know this is a PC item, but I don't play PC. I know it is recommended on the build for Master Yi, but basically you gain a ton of movement speed off of your ability haste. This is an AP item for something. I don't have it in my head just by looking at this, but this is an AP item for something else. But yeah, Master Yi uses this. I don't know who else uses this though, because I don't see a build on this on many characters whatsoever. Ghostblade also offers penetration, but you gain attack speed when you hit the max stacks for this. I'm not sure who all uses this though. Blade of the Ruined King. Blade of the Blue King basically offers critical event along with physical attack and trying to think here. This one offers critical. This one offers physical. This one offers lifesteal while also dealing magic damage. I'm not sure what else to say about this. It is a staple on many champions like Renekton, who benefits greatly off that item. I'm not sure Noxus ever uses this. If you got marksmen that decides to go ahead and build a non-critical build, I'm pretty sure that most of them go at some point in form go to this item. Infinity Edge, you basically do more. Your critical damage is worth more. It's a staple for many marksman builds that uses critical. This was a new item that was added this season. I don't even get the whole point of this item. I know this item has something to do with going between light and dark items. Your light items like this and your dark items like this, but other than that, I don't know the whole use of this. I don't see the whole use of this, and I don't know who actually benefits from this. Titanic Hydra, they listed it as a tank item, but honestly, any bruiser can go ahead and use this. You gain additional HP based off of how much you gain additional AD based off of how much HP you have stacked. And this is a good item stacked to something else. I'll explain later. And it's Screech Gauge, also a lifeline item, but for melees and specifically bruisers. It doesn't exactly offer you lifesteal. It just gives you a shield to go ahead and help you survive a bit longer. That's all I can say for AD champions. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about AP. This is what I usually specialize in. I use AP over AD. I just like AP champions. But yeah, I specialize in this. I could go ahead and explain what majority, if not all these items does, and who benefits off of what. So let's go straight into this. And maybe you can go ahead and catch the problem that I'm about to go ahead and explain later on in this video. Luna's Echo. By casting an ability or using an Empire attack while it's fully charged, you go ahead and deal additional ability damage around everything around you. Basically, anyone who uses AP can use this item. Pretty simple. Morellicons. That is your healing reduction item, but for mages. So we already got 3 for marksmen, bruisers, and now mages for this one. Rylai's the AD version of, I forgot whatever the name is. Forgive me, I'm tired. Plus, I don't mess with AD items as much. But basically, you cast an ability, you use it or use an Empire attack. That plus is slow for a second. I know for Sunin there is an additional effect when you go ahead and build this item on Seraphine. Although the Seraphine players can go ahead and explain it themselves, because I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. I don't know why it works, but the Seraphine mans will go ahead and have better idea to explain why this item works well with Seraphine. Liandry's Torment. Basically you deal burning damage by using abilities on your opponents. And that item scales with how much HP they have. Teemo loves this item. Brand loves this item. I think Zero loves this item, I'm not sure. Morgana loves this item. Anunu, if he decides to go ahead and build mage, he loves this item. And the fact of the matter is, if you combine with Morellicon, you basically reducing the overall sustain that the enemy that the other side has. Rada Aegis, this is your scaling item for mages. Any mage or any other AP champion that uses this can use this. But basically, you are getting a sudden set of HP, MP, and magic power or ability power now and then you get more of it within the next 10 minutes, just scaling. Lich Bane, you basically dealing your next attack after dealing ability damage deals additional magic ability damage. Lux loves this item, Seraphine loves this item. Basically anyone that has an empowered attack to this loves this item. Diana loves this item. I will say Sona, but nah. She's a support. I don't see anyone building this item on Sona unless she is being played mid or off mid or mid. But even then, folks will find a different way to go ahead and empower Sona. This is my go-to item for Nami if I play mid lane with her, but that's another topic for that time. Let's go ahead and move on. Archangel Staff. You're basically dealing a ton of ability damage to build mana, kind of like Manamune, but instead, when you go ahead and get to that your max stacks, it is a lifesteal item offering a ton of shield. Also with that at max stacks, you deal additional ability damage based off of the amount of mana that you have. This scales great, especially when you add items like Rod of Ages, Lewis Echo, and some other few items. Any mage should go ahead and use this. Nasa's Tooth, I have already explained that, so we're not going through that again. No, it's not happening. Artist Sensor, your support item. Now, the only reason why I'm saying your support item is because the difference between the support items here and your other items there is that your support items offers no magic penetration whatsoever. I want you to go ahead and keep this in mind when you're going ahead and testing your builds and whatnot. Support items offers no magic penetration, which means you don't ignore armor. But anyways, let's go ahead and break it down. You gain movement speed, and if you go ahead and shield someone, you gain a certain amount of attack speed, and your basic attack still bonus magic damage for a few seconds. Note, regen effects do not trigger sensor. Straight up healing or shielding. Now, almost any support can go ahead and deal with this on anyone that can shield, but Soraka can go ahead and benefits greatly off of this. Sonya benefits greatly off of this. I think Jenna and Lulu does as well. But yeah, mainly Soraka and Sona benefits off of this. Rakan and Sun and Instances benefits off of this too. And let me go ahead and explain there. Because I know his ability, because I know his abilities are on high cooldown regardless. But let me go ahead and explain something. If you paired up with Zalia, who offers attack speed, which Rakan can go ahead and take full advantage of, you add this item in. And like rush this first. If you two have good shit and synergy, there's not really much that the other side can do. You have more attack speed. You can go ahead and put in a bit more pressure. And if you're a duo, you ain't really gotta go. Zalia ain't really gotta go ahead and have an attack speed item and like rush attack speed first. You have your kit. And then if you build this item first, you have that item. So what is it that the other side can do? If Rakan lands his first ability and Zalia's there, that's a heal that triggers. And then he has his shield, which he could go ahead and use, which he can use again for free after 3 seconds. So what can he do? Awakened Soul Sealer that used to go ahead and offer additional ability haste for each kill you got, but they put that into the runes instead. So instead, when you get a kill, the remaining cooldown that you have on your abilities is reduced by 25%. It offers a ton of magic penetration. Not much to say about this item. Staff of Flowing Water is another support item, kind of like Ardent Censer, except when you go ahead and heal to shield someone, you get additional ability haste and additional ability power, and a certain amount of ability power depending on what level you are. This is beneficial to those that has ability damage up in their kits. Kaiser, Varus, Jhin surprisingly, Caitlyn with her traps, Jinx with her rooting abilities, Israel. But yeah, anyone that has magic, or ability damage in their kit that has a ton of scaling, they benefit off of this. But like I said, just like the last one, Soraka and Sonya benefits off this. And like Ardent Censer, this one offers a ton of magic. Also a great scaling item for Archangel stack for any supports that want to go ahead and use that. So there's that. Crystalline Reflector. You basically use an ability for 3 seconds. You create yourself a reflected shield around you, reflecting basically a certain amount of physical attacks right back at those who want to go ahead and use basic attacks against you. This was stronger back then, but each time you use the ability, you had like a stack. It only stacks up to 3 times, which can go ahead and block up to 3 of the basic attacks. Diana was great at using this since her abilities were low, especially compared to her first and third ability. But I'm not sure who uses this these days. It is weak. But I will say that this is the only AP item that also offers defense along with it. Crown of the Shattered Crane, your AP version of, again, I forgot what it's called, but it is an ability, but it's an ability shield. The only difference is, as long as your shield is up, you deal additional ability damage. Imperial Mandate, your marking item for supports. Basically, you deal ability damage to that to your opponent. They're marked, and then they help. And then if your partner or any of your teammates goes ahead, it hits them while they're marked, that deals a bit additional ability damage to them. Not much to say about it. It is another support item. Cosmic Drive, another AD item for something else I forgot. but your active abilities, your power attacks, offers you a ton of movement speed based off the amount of ability haste that you have built upon yourself. Like I said, Diana greatly benefits off this because it scales with Lich Bane. I'm not sure what else to go ahead and say about it though. Ultra's Trident, that is your AD version of Suffix Bane. Same thing. You deal ability damage, your shields are more or less effective for a few seconds. Horizon Focus. I don't see many people using this item, truth be told. It's used, but not that much. But basically, it's more vision if you landing your abilities that has a skill shot to it. Keyword skill shot. Infinity Orb offers penetration and can critically strike around those that has less than 30% HP. My apologies, they changed it to 45. I'm trying to figure out when. But yeah, this was one of the 2 items back then that offered this was one of the 2 items that offers magic penetration back then, before they went ahead and did the rework, when they went ahead and basically buffed all mage items, with the exception of supports. One's Death Cap used to be way stronger and more overpowered back then, that everyone rushes it. But basically, you gain additional AP based off the total amount of AP items that you have on top of what it's already offering. It used to be It used to cost this much and offers 140, while offering a flat 40%. But they changed it so that way it could go ahead and be somewhat weaker early game, so people had to go ahead and adjust to their builds and whatnot. Harmonic Echo, same thing as Ludens, except when you go ahead and heal someone, the heal goes around all your teammates that are around you, or that person that are being healed. It is a support item, so watch yourself. Riftmaker, that is that's a PC item that recently came here. But basically, it is your lifesteal item for anyone that utilizes AP. Kale benefits off this greatly. But so does Morgana. I'm not sure if Teemo uses this, but if he felt like he could benefit off of it, along with Bran and anyone else. But yeah, that's your lifesteal item for mages. Volibear also benefits from this if he decides to go ahead and build hybrid. So there's that. I'm not going to explain about this item because we already went through it. So yeah, let's go ahead and leave it alone and go to the next one. As I have said before, we are going to go ahead and move on to the tank items. I feel like it is unfair to go ahead and explain AD and AP without explaining tank. Because when it's all said and done, I do believe that tank items are better than the tank items are better than AP items, which I will explain after going through all these items. With that said, let's head straight up into it. Guardian's Angel, I have already explained it a while back, so we're not about to go ahead and say anything about that. Same thing with Death Stance. I already explained it, we're not going ahead and say anything about it. Certified Aegis offers no armor, but offers a ton of HP, and based off the HP you have, you deal additional magic damage. Against everyone around you. Adds damage over time. Almost any tank can go ahead and use this. And certain bruisers can go ahead and use it too. I can go ahead and point that out. Spear's Visage basically accounts to AP champions. AP champions helps you receive more healing and shielding from that item. Great benefit to those who are supportive and are able to go ahead and get that actually healing and shielding out. Lux, Lulu, Janna, Orianna, those type of champions. Rodden's Omen, a counter 80 champions, specifically anyone that can go ahead and crit. You take each time you go ahead and take crit damage, you gain stacks, and when you go ahead and attack, you could go ahead consume all those stacks, you get a heal off of it. It also works if you go ahead AFK and run away. But yeah, basically a counter to those who use to go ahead and build critical attacks. Marksman, Yasuo, Yone. And they just watch the builds, because if they're not building it crit, then you're not going to be able to go ahead and get the full use of that item. Thornmail, your healing reduction item, but for tanks. The thing is, this only works if they are using critical. If it not critical, this only works if they are using basic attacks against you. Abilities do not go ahead and proc this item. Basically, every tank can go ahead and use this. Sometimes booster too. Like I said earlier, I did use this on Irelia when I went ahead and built tank Irelia with just a ton of armor. Deadman's Plate. You basically gain movement speed, and at max stacks, when you go ahead and attack someone, you deal additional magic damage. Any tank could go ahead and use this, since it greatly counts AD champions, but also folks like Darius and Renekton, those types of champions those types of bruisers that could go ahead and use it. Iceborne Gauntlet, kind of like Lichbane and Trinity Force, except with your basic attacks, you could go ahead and create a field around the person who was attacked that slows everyone in that area. When it comes to me, think of a champion. Thresh that thought when you think Iceborne Gauntlets. Since he can infinitely stack souls, receiving him a ton of ability power and armor. Israel also uses this with conjunction with Menamune, so I'm not sure exactly how that works. Yeah, any tank can use this, but someone like Thresh really benefits off this. I'm not sure who else does though. Maybe Rammus? Abyssal Mass, your counter to AP champions. You take a certain amount of damage, you take a certain amount of magic damage, you gain stacks, you use that stacks to go ahead and attack someone, and you deal additional magic damage based off of the stacks that you have. It does cap at some point. Six Convergence used to be a hybrid defense item. Now it's just straight up armor. It's basically your go-to item for support tanks. I'm not sure exactly how to go ahead and explain this. This item usually only activates wherever you go ahead and use an ultimate. You create a shield. You create a field around you which slows enemies, and if your ally happens to be there, their attacks burn enemies while they're up in that field. Someone like Samira can go ahead and greatly benefit off of this. Maybe Twitch too. But I think it's not really used for marksmen. It's more used for all the other front lines that decide to be up there with you. Those are my thoughts, though. Protector's Vow, the tank support item. Basically, if someone, if you or someone else that's near you takes damage, your shield immediately activates. Your item automatically activates, granting both of you a small shield. Winter's Approach, it's kind of like Archangel Staff, except Menamune, except when you go ahead and stack your match mana. Every time you go ahead and deal crowd control, you gain a certain amount of shield. I'm not sure who greatly benefits from this, because I don't use this item at all. I think maybe Sin goes ahead and uses this a lot if he decides to build tank, but other than that, I'm not 100% good with Winter's approach. And unlike the additional ability damage and unlike the additional ability damage and physical damage that you do gain from the other two items, you gain additional health from stacking a ton of mana. Frozen Heart, basically your OR item. I'm tired, I can't even pronounce it right. But basically slows a certain amount of attack. Basically reduces the amount of attack speed when enemies are around you. All those people get reduced attack speed as long as they're around you. If you happen to have this item and you are dead, it does not count. So let's go ahead and keep this in mind. Fortune Major, your counter to AP champions. But basically, you take ability damage, you gain a stack, and at max stacks, you gain additional magic. You gain additional magic reduction against AP champions and AP abilities. Siege Jar, this is another one of those items that is hardly used. But basically, by hitting certain seeds, you get to go ahead and pick up an additional seed, which will temporarily replace your warding trinket. I don't see many people using this, so I don't see this as a popular item unless you playing off meta and supportive like. Like if you were to go ahead and get a honey fruit, you could go ahead and get an additional one to go ahead and keep yourself healthy while you're laning or jungling. Additional visual ward, additional waste, additional knockback, whatever you name it. But many people don't go ahead and build this item, so I don't see much use of this at all. Mantle of the 12th Hour, I want to say this is a support item, but basically it is a hybrid defensive item. You gain additional HP. It is a lifeline item. You gain additional HP. It used to be stronger then because you used to go ahead and heal that stuff. It'll give you the HP, but it'll give it to you over time and not just flat out. Used to be stronger. Now it's just a bit nerfed. Searing Crown, kind of like Sunfire, except you only deal the additional burning damage if you go ahead and learn your abilities. Heartsteel, your go-to item for any tank or bruiser. Basically, you attack someone after a bell goes off. You get that attack, you gain a stack, and those stacks basically scale up your physical damage the more HP you have. The bigger your stacks, the bigger damage you get to do with your Heartsteel. Scales very well with Titanic Hydra. Almost any tank can go ahead and use this, but it offers physical damage. They took out Hullbreaker to go ahead and combat the Ensign Scion and whatnot, and some of the other split pushes, but I don't exactly see how they managed to go ahead and solve that problem when they went ahead and added something like Heartsteel to it, which if they get fed, they'll go ahead and do the same thing anyway. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Twin Guard, basically the AP version of Death Cap. But basically, But basically, you gain stacks while you're up in combat. At max stacks, you gain additional armor and magic resist. Percentage-wise. Almost any bruiser or tank can go ahead and use this, although I have seen a AP Swain benefit off of this. So I do want to go ahead and keep that in mind there. Warmark's armor. I don't really see this being used much except on Garen. But almost any tank can go ahead and use this. The only thing is you must have a certain amount of HP in order to go ahead and get the effect. As long as you're out of combat, you gain additional health regen, help you to stay on the field a lot longer. We're already over Strix Gauge. We're not about to talk about it again, but let's go ahead and talk about this last item, Dawn Shroud. Offers hybrid defense if you go ahead and crowd control someone. Anyone who is invisible around that person who has been crowd controlled will be seen. And on top of that, you deal additional magic damage and you heal for that same amount. So yeah, against Pyke, it's kind of busted unless he decides to go ahead and move around before that ability activates. I do believe it reveals someone up in bush, although I can't really prove it. But yeah, those are take items. Now let's go ahead and explain the problem. So let's go ahead and go back to the original question that I did ask in the beginning of the video. Why do many people stack AD champions over AP champions? I don't have an exact answer, but let's go ahead and give you my educated answer. The answer that I did based off of my research. AD champions have more build options than AP champions. Even the hybrid champions, they have more build options than AP champions. They just do. Let's go ahead and go back to some of the items for a second. Your AD champions can go ahead and resurrect themselves. AD champions can go ahead and get themselves additional shield based off their attack. AD champions can go ahead and slow someone off a basic attack based off of going invis. AD champions gets a lifesteal based off of magic attacks, based off of being dealt magical attacks and whatnot. I'm sorry, that's the wrong item I'm pointing to. It's supposed to be this one, but you get the point. And then you got so many other items that can go ahead and stack well with each other and whatnot. Mana regen. They call it Siphon, but it's mana regen. Cooldown reduction. Kind of similar to I forget the name. My goodness. Yeah, you got some of the stuff that can go ahead and copy other stuff, but basically, you have more build options. If you're a marksman and you believe that critical does not work for you, you can go ahead and easily go with a lethality build and go penetration. As a Garen, you could go ahead and throw someone off and go and build crit and catch people off guard with that. If Akali or Katrina decides to go ahead and get buck wild and decides to go ahead and do an AD build over an AP build, they go ahead and benefit off of that. After all, Akali's getting additional dashes anyway, which will make her hard to catch, despite it being despite that being the only way to go ahead and deal additional ability damage. And Katarina, despite her ultimate scaling with AP only, you already have a Morellicon effect build up into a kit. What do many AP champions have? User ability or a power attack? Ability, a power attack. Ability, and power attack. A straight up ability. We're not even going to talk about that. But yeah, some of these items are just straight up ability damage or empowered attack. And I do want to go ahead and offer a secret with Nash's Tooth. Why there's more AP than AD. It's because of how we scale when we go ahead and level up. We level up, we gain additional health, additional mana. If you are able to gain mana, additional attack power. Well, there's a successful Shanna, but that's for another topic. But additional health, additional mana, health regen, mana regen, attack speed, armor, and magical reduction. You scale with all that until you hit level 15. You get scaling off of that. There is no scaling for AP whatsoever. If you want to go ahead and build up your AP damage, you strictly get that from items. You do not get that from leveling whatsoever. At first, I thought that it was unfair that AD champions were getting less than AP champions, but it makes more sense now. If you decide to go ahead and make it the same, the item will greatly favor AD champions simply because you get more attack, a certain amount of attack power and whatnot, based off the scaling you do where you level up. And I do want to go ahead and explain something else. You see, when I say bruiser, you see a ton of AD bruisers. The first thing you think of is AD bruisers. Do you see any AP bruisers? I don't think so. You got Galio, you got Gren, and you possibly got Nunu. But what? And I'm being honest. What AP champion? What player will go ahead and try to hybrid build both AP and tank at the same time? It just does not work. You handed up something. AD, you could go ahead and build tank. You could go ahead and build tank. If you playing an AD champion and you trying to go ahead and build bruiser, like you could go ahead and throw on Titanic Hydra, Heartsteel, put on any other defense that you feel like putting on, and call it a day. You could go ahead and still do. You could go ahead and do amount of damage. You actually have to think when balancing magic and your magic and your tank items, because you're going to be losing out on the value. And although this is the only item that has armor and ability power, the amount of damage you can go ahead and reflect back is it scales off of your AD. It does not scale off of armor. Just want to go ahead and put that aside for a minute. But yeah, there's some things that AD champions can do that AP cannot. At least cannot benefit off of this. Teemo cannot benefit off of this. They have to go ahead and use the items that are given to them to go ahead and do damage elsewhere, to go ahead and power their attacks elsewhere. You're basically forced to play a certain way based off the items that are there. And speaking of magic, let's go ahead and explain about your tank items and your AP items. I'm sorry, your tank items and your AD items. Some of these items that I'm about to go ahead and point to deal additional magic damage. You don't even need to build AP for some of these for some of the for some of your AD champions that has magic in the kit. You can go ahead and get that directly from items. You just fulfill the requirements that are there, and before you know it, you are dealing magic damage within those items. You don't even need to go ahead and break form if you don't feel like it and build AP. You just go ahead, keep the benefits, and deal ability damage like that. And like, it's not like they have a scaling. They give you a set amount. They give you a set amount. And you can go ahead and stack that set amount on top of the physical damage that you're doing. That's an advantage in itself. You can go ahead and go hybrid just by building 80 items and calling it a day. AP champions do not get that option. Tanks, you can go ahead and stack a build. Oh, tanks. You can go ahead and stack ability damage on top of building tank. AP items just do not have that. You have so many build options building tank and tanking and physical damage. What do AP champions have? Stuff that just strictly builds up their AP and that's it. You gotta go ahead and hand something else over if you want to go ahead and do something. If you want to go ahead and be creative with that, you gotta hand something over and hope that your team is able to carry through for the damage that you're about to give up. So yeah, that's my honest opinion on why 80 champions are being stacked. That's just how it is. I am going to go ahead and end the message with that. But I am going to go ahead and end the message with this. Stop stacking AD. Stop stacking AD. Stop stacking AD. Although tanks are not a popular type of role champions to play, Thornmills exist for a reason. And as long as everyone continues to go ahead and stack AD, we can go ahead and basically do whatever we want as tanks, as bruisers. We can go ahead and stack, negate your damage, deal the same amount, and then just force y'all to surrender because I decided just to go ahead and stack AD. Pay attention to what your opponent is building, and you will go ahead and get better at the game. This is Tankster offering my own perspective for this. Y'all have a blessed day or a blessed evening wherever y'all are. Peace.